want to start by setting the context because the topic per se is very, very vast, very deep. And in the next 57 minutes or so, we will try to discuss a few themes, a few questions. And the final 5 or 6 minutes, I would like to leave it open to the audience for any questions that you may have. And being part of the fourth panel, the penultimate panel of the day, I think a lot has been said. Okay, a lot of topics, ideas, thoughts have been discussed, debated. Okay, so it will be our endeavor to sort of refresh, recap, revisit, okay, and look back at a few ideas and take them forward. So that is the idea. And what I will do, since the topic is supply chains in a fragmented world, navigating geopolitics, trade and risk. It's very heavy, very vast and very deep topic. So what I have done is, I have compiled some recent news events and snippets to begin with. Before I get into the actual questioning, we will try and do 1 or 2 rounds depending on the time that we have. And we also have an educationist amongst us. Big round of applause. Okay. If you haven't seen in the previous panels. Okay. Amongst practitioners, we have a leading educationalist from Chitkara University. And Sir will share his perspectives more from an academic background and how academia and the real world can come together. Right? So very happy to have you, sir. Right? And easily more than, I don't know, 5 into 20 is 100. So more than 120 years of collective experience there. Right? Correct? Right? So 5 old people with a teenager standing here, right? Please don't forget that. Okay. So I'll just start with a few new snippets before I jump into the questions. Just for all of you to absorb and digest and note possibly. Okay. Just reading them aloud. Okay. And I compile the news on LinkedIn every 15 days. I compile news on logistics and supply chain and I post it on LinkedIn every 15 days for the general supply chain fraternity. It's absolutely free of cost. So you will find, multiple slides on various topics that I compile. And the next one will be coming up on the 31st of August. My most recent post was on 15th. Okay, the Independence Day, right? So I'll just start with a few new snippets. Okay, to begin with, cyber incidents result in an average operational disruption of around 16 hours, according to a joint report by Kaspersky and VDC Research. Okay, cyber incidents are becoming a major risk for manufacturers, with nearly 6 in 10, which is about 60%, reporting losses of over $1 million per incident. Okay, so that pretty much tells you how serious cyber risks are today. And by the way, they are the most highly paid individuals today. Okay, so it's a cracking combination, lethal combination to have a concoction. You understand supply chain, technology, and cyber risk. I think you will be a millionaire in India. Okay, easily the highest paying jobs today, right? Right. Risk, compliance and ESG. Why do you need to have different departments? I read a news about it. Why can't they all be integrated together? Okay. Global instability has driven the demand for supply chain insurance. All of a sudden, last few years, okay, due to what is happening around us, the need for insurance has significantly gone up. Okay. Recently, I don't know whether India has been involved, but I was reading a news which all of us should take with a pinch of salt. Okay, it needs to be analyzed, but I don't know how many of you read this. The great transshipment scam, which has happened, okay, where a US report names India as one of the alleged countries among 40 nations that has helped China to divert shipments to India to evade taxes. Now, we don't know whether this is true, but we'll have to wait and watch, okay, and see, right? From Hormuz to the Black Sea, maritime battlefields are shaping a new world order, which is pretty much true. A big positive in all this is that the gross GST mop-up for the most previous month, July, is a staggering 2.11 lakh crores. Big round of applause. So a lot of economic activity happening, right? 2.11 lakh crore is among the highest, right? And over 14 crore e-way bills have been generated in that period. That only tells us that there's a lot of domestic activity that is going on. Okay, right? India's airports, any guess how much tonnage we handled in the previous month or few months back? We handled close to 3.64 lakh tons of cargo. Okay, up 16% year on year. Okay, that's more than 4 million tons annually. Okay. So given this backdrop, I will first start with, of course, with Sir. Right, Sir. We had a specific flow actually, but with a few absentees now, we'll have to do dynamic disruption management, as it were. Right, we live in a VUCA and BANI world. Right. So all of you put on your impromptu hats, right? Think on your feet and be ready to be as extemporaneous as you possibly can, but sticking to the subject, right? Okay, sir. Sir, this is well within your syllabus, right? So you don't have to look nervous, right? This question is very much pertains to you. So, from an academic background, what do you think are companies, businesses, and industries doing to manage business continuity? I'm sure you teach business continuity management. So, how is it actually being handled at a company, sector, department, function level? Sir, is that mic working or it stopped working because I used it previously?
It's working.
Ah, it's working, fine. Yeah. Okay, right. Yes, sir, over to you.
Should I introduce first myself? I should introduce
Oh, you
first?
please, please. That goes without saying, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
how can you not do that?
yeah.
Each of you can introduce yourselves
I'm
as we
Neeraj
go along.
Anand.
Yeah.
I'm Neeraj Anand. I joined teaching profession in 1995 after 3 years of industry experience, basically a civil engineer and then MBA. And after joining teaching profession, I did my PhD in marketing management. There was no specialization other than operation management. Very few institutions were offering. So I went for marketing management. Later I switched to supply chain management. So I worked for UPS, that is University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun, for 16 years, where we founded MBS Logistic and Supply Chain Program in 2008. So I consider myself one of the pioneer in supply chain education, not in the industry, but from the education industry perspective. So thank you for the opportunity, Celerity and Mr. Sunil. As far as business continuity is concerned, I think one of the great contribution from the academia to the industry is to supply the professionals. I think this one gap which was existing, still I think there's a gap, the kind of industry manpower looking for, young professionals, and the academic institutions are providing them. So I think Chitkara University and some other universities, they are really offering specialization courses in undergrad, that is BBA, as well as MBA. So if your youngsters are professional ready, they are industry ready, I think industry is happy to receive them. As far as our university is concerned in terms of business continuity, I think we need to be 24 by 7. Everybody knows, I think, the kind of situations we are in during COVID, 29 to 21 especially. So we switched to online mode. So even now, universities are prepared for any kind of adversities. So online infrastructure, that is LMS, we have different kind of executive education program also, because if the universities are to succeed and they provide enriched student experience, I think why universities are working, it is not only to provide degrees. And I don't know, because a lot of, I think the audience is from the industry, not from education, but all of you are well educated. There is a policy from UGC known as NEP 2020. So as per that policy, a lot of changes have been there in terms of curriculum, in terms of industry preparation for the students, as well as their skill development. And one of the ways how universities are preparing themselves is international accreditation. So our university is one which is going for AACSB, that is Association to Collegiate Business School Education. That is AACSB, US accreditation. So there are only 18 institutions who are getting this kind of accreditation. If you talk about this accreditation, you are there to provide student competencies. So it is not the degrees, it is not the result in the mark sheets. You must be looking around 9 out of 10. A lot of the students are getting 9 out of 10, but if you ask them, I think they cannot write very good English kind of application or even CV, resume. So all this need to be prepared when you are going to prepare them for industry ready. As far as our university is concerned and other leading universities are doing, they are to prepare them AI minor courses. So we are offering them AI curriculum as a minor in terms of curriculum, as well as risk-taking capacity to build them. For the risk capacity program, we are going for IRM, Institute of Risk Management Center. So level 1 ERM, Enterprise Risk Management course, has been embedded to the MBA programs. So how MBA students are to be prepared. I think these are the few things which universities are doing. They can further go for these things. I can pass on to my other colleague, Mr. Akshay. Akash.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, I'll now come over to Akash. And since one gentleman is not
I
here,
think, sorry, Akash has missed out, I think. You please
Akash has
continue.
missed out, right? Ashish is here, right? Yes. Hi, Ashish. Welcome to the panel. And a quick introduction first, and followed by very specific question around tools and technologies, right? Because a lot has been spoken about control towers, AI, use, misuse, okay, best cases, worst cases, etc. But based on your experience, current experience and past experience, we would like to know what are some of those specific aspects that, given the current VUCA world, companies need to keep in mind to ensure a stable, proper, efficient adoption of different tools and technologies and automation software. It could be across the spectrum, or you could share anything specific to your own function. Yes, over to you, Ashish.
Yep,
Yeah.
sure. Good afternoon, good evening now. Ashish Tripathi, I'm representing company called as Swan Defense. What we do, we are building ships, and some of the ships which are being built very first time for India, uh, whether it is on the export order for the defense, for the Royal Navy of Oman, or chemical tankers for our European clients, and something more under the pipeline. Background of me, a sailor, turned to moved shore, done my masters, stayed overseas in Singapore and Denmark for a while, moved back to India, worked with various shipping companies, and now with the, we are building onto the ships. That's about me. Coming back to the question, what you had about the tools and various scenarios, I think it's not a just a necessity, it is must as to have the tools whichever way you want to. In the previous panels we heard about various tools which are there right from the control towers, the data, but to answer your question, I think it's, if I stick with the marine perspective, I draw a parallel for the audience sake, look at a aviation sector or an automobile where you have a A380, a Dreamliner, or a Land Rover, or a Tata, whatever model, but here the size or the batch of the ships are say 4 to 6 to 10 to 12, max to max, which means that the batch of those delivery of the vessels come with the peculiar challenges. I talk about the current one which we are doing now. We are building one of the very first, like I said, the vessel for in India for a European client, a chemical tanker. I'm talking of a main engine being imported from Japan, because nothing, if you divide the suppliers in tier 1, 2, 3, there's barely something in tier 2, few things in tier 3, nothing absolutely in tier 1. So how do you map? Because now you're talking to a lead time of 24 to 25 months, right? And when you're charting this on your planning tool, so whatever decisions you are taking basis that so-called critical path, whatever you decide, that impact will come after 2 years actually. How do you plan for that? Uh, I was referring to the example of main engine. While we are importing this main engine, it has to be getting into the country, has to be BIS standard. Japanese doesn't know about it. What are you talking? How do you import that? So long story short, all those tools very much are necessary when you're designing. As a supply chain practitioners, all of us have to, not just like I said at the start as a luxury, it is very much needed for the business to be in the various facets of it. At the same time, ensuring that whether you put it on the AI, SAP, there are, I mean, various models we can talk about, but as a practitioners is to see it through end to end. In our case, especially when we are going out to bid for a project, you are giving, again, any project that, this is non-exceeding envelope basis, the costing, ingestion period, maybe after a 6 or 8 months you award the contract, the pricing what you have had stands true for that period, and then the delivery you're talking about 36 months, where you have various commodity with the likes of steel and all those things. So how do you factor that? So there are a lot of variables which are there into play. The bottom line remains that it is not about the reactive approach using all these tools, it's about preempting much before. It is not about where is my consignment or where is my shipment, but it is much before in that so-called critical path. If this happened, is what is I'm going to do to that. And with so many vendors, overseas, local, domestic. There's so many factors to that, right? And how do you capture that remains the essence of it. And how mature is the organization is also something, depends. So it shouldn't be just for the sake of it, that we sound, more sexy about it, but that is not the point, but is that what you achieve out of those tools is what is important actually.
Yeah, I think a lot of valid points. A holistic approach, a project management view, right? An optimized approach to applications of technology. See, we are not enemies of tools and technologies, right? But there are people, there are processes that need to come before technology, right? And we need to use it judiciously. Coming to Nikhil, my colleague from the tire industry. Nikhil, you can first introduce yourself before I come to the specific question. Yes, over to you, Nikhil.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nikhil Puri. So I'm heading the direct purchase function of Yokohama Tires for the global operations. I have more than 22 years experience across various industries, started from automotive work with Honda cars and General Motors, moved into telecom, and now I'm again back to automotive. Donned various hats of supply chain and supply chain verticals. Yeah.
Great. So, Nikhil, given coming back to our topic, fragmented world, geopolitics, trade, risk, resilience, etc., a lot of which has been spoken about already. I just want your views on two very specific areas here, and let me touch upon them in brief. Now, what are your views on two aspects specifically, part A, part B? First is building a centralized versus a decentralized supply chain. Okay. Now, are all functions amenable to a centralized model, or certain functions are amenable to a decentralized model in the current scheme of things? Okay. Hormuz, geopolitics, trade imbalances, okay, currency fluctuations, tax barriers, tariff barriers. Like someone said in the morning, we don't know the mood of the president of the US. He does something on Saturday, his mood changes on Monday after a cup of coffee. Okay, suddenly he will say, 10,000% tariff on India. Just joking, it won't be 10,000. We won't exist if that's the case, right? We'll have to look for some other profession then, right? But the idea is, how do we look at centralized versus decentralized and global versus regional supply chains playing out based on your experience or based on your industry? Two aspects, okay? Centralized, decentralized, global, regional.
Yeah. So centralized and decentralized, whether we talk about centralized or decentralized, or whether we talk about globalized and regional. So it is not either or.
It's not either or.
So it is never, no company. This was a case around decades ago, around at least I could say before COVID era. Today you cannot talk about globalization only, or first I'll take the global and regional thing. The globalization and the regionalization, you need to have the amalgamation of both. Okay, so both have their merits and demerits. So globalization will bring you standardization, scale, so you can bring down the cost down, but then it will have its own challenges on the logistic challenge, the tariffs and all. Where is your supply chain established? So when we look back into our industry, but if I take back from my experience, when we faced this type of scenario, we actually went back to the drawing board. The question before you answer that whether you want a globalization or global supply chain or a center or a regional supply chain, you have to first understand what is your business model is. Is your business model MTO, make to order, or make to supply? Because both the different type of are engineer to order. So if all these different type of business models have to have a different supply chain scenarios, you cannot, because if you are into a make to supply, you can actually go back to into a regional supply chain. Okay, because you want quick turnaround times, you want inventory levels low. But if you are at make to order business, you cannot only rely on regional, you have to go to global. So the aspect where what lies will be, the global should remain as a core, and the execution should be at the regional level. And most importantly, I'm sure people have been doing it, but there's a very generic metrics. I'm not sure how many of us seriously use that. You must have heard of Kraljic metrics.
Yes, yes, yes.
So the best thing is going back to the drawing board, putting your entire supply chain on Kraljic metrics, and then drill down and then decide with where your leverage is, where is your criticality, where is your bottlenecks, and so accordingly you decide the entire sourcing strategy, entire procurement strategy, and it will become the mix of the global as well as the regional. You cannot, there has to be a geographical diversity. You cannot say one country bombed another country, so I have to stop my operations. You cannot say that. So today what we have done is into our supply chain is we have made a geographical diversity is that come what may, I can shift my supply chain from Southeast Asia to Europe and Europe to Russia, Russia to US in the blink of an eye.
Wow.
But that cannot be done overnight.
Okay.
It has to be there has to be a cohesive effort between the cross-functional teams of the organization. The larger picture people have to realize. I am a big advocate of one thing: the world runs on supply chain. Supply chain will be the fulcrum on which the organizations will flourish. So the organization from the top down, who understand that the larger picture, how the supply chain operates from the customer to the end consumer or to the back end, then they can only decide that what is the priority. Today in our organization, my KPIs are aligned with the R&D KPIs and vice versa, or with the operations. R&D cannot have a different KPI and I cannot have a different KPI. What is the common KPI? We are here to serve. We are here to run the business. We are here to make profit. So you cannot say I made something or I procured something. That does not work. Like you said, in a lighter mode, I always tell my R&D guys, there is only one rule. What I bring, you approve. What you approve, I bring. So it's very simple. So I'm putting it very simply, but the objective is that you have to design a supply chain working along with your stakeholders. Now coming back to centralization and decentralization, again, like I said, there is no universal thing. Centralization will bring you the cost down will come down, but you will get aloof from your customer. It will become more bureaucratic. Something is happening in one GCC. GCCs are good, but how much they are connected to the regional centers, your regional plants where you are serving. And on the flip side, if you go to the regional or decentralization, then you will find that you have 30 plants, 30 types of same item has duplicate inventories, different SOPs across the world, and everybody has their own way of working. So again, it has to be an amalgamation that where do you want the speed? For standardization items, where you have a leverage, go for centralization. Where you think there is a bottleneck, go for a regionalization. Something which is critical should not be decentralized, which is critical for one plant. Like we buy a particular item across our 30 plants only in one plant. How can that be centralized? It is not used in any of our location. So that means it has to be controlled locally along with a very supplier relationship management. So that's how my take on this would be that we should all think of amalgamation, decide, it should be driven from your corporate strategy. Supply chain strategy has to get aligned with the corporate strategy. What is your corporate strategy? What is your key KPI? Are you an FMCG or are you an engineering company like his company? His company, they cannot say that I want a jet. His material will be made to an order. When they order, they will start designing and everything, and the delivery will come after 24 months, like just Akash said. So you have to have race horses for courses, right? So that's my input on the same.
Excellent. I think long answer, but very poignant in terms of conflicting KPIs, right? MTS, MTO, ETO models. And not all supply chains will have the same sort of approach, right? And this is very fluid. I think the situation as we speak also is very, very uncertain, very unpredictable, and which is the new normal. We should be happy with this. I think I was reading somewhere the other day, people have stopped talking about China plus one. It is now China plus N actually, where n can be anything greater than or equal to 1. Okay, so that is the situation. And it is good to note that a lot of businesses move to India, Vietnam, okay, Malaysia, Bangladesh, Indonesia, etc. A lot of Asian countries have taken advantage of all these so-called tariff walls and tariff barriers. Coming to Pankaj, who's from the paints industry, right? A quick introduction, Pankaj,
Yeah.
and then I'll follow it up with a
Yeah,
question. Yes, over to you, Pankaj.
Yeah, so good evening all. My name is Pankaj. Close to 2 decades of experience in supply chain. I work in automobile, TVS Motor. Then after that, I worked briefly on PepsiCo, beverage, food and beverage. And then large part I spent into the paint side of the world. Earlier it was named as a AkzoNobel. It's a Dutch multinational. We are going through M&A. Most of you would have read last year GSW group has taken over AkzoNobel India operation. So we are enjoying the change management. We are experiencing that.
You're enjoying the change management.
Yeah, absolutely. I think since morning we are discussing,
that's music to
disruption
my
and all.
ears. People don't normally say that. I don't
Yeah,
know. When
yeah.
was the
So
last time I heard this?
So it's good, if you can adapt. I think we were using since morning adaptability.
stuff.
So the faster you do, it will be easy for you. So just an example, like, I moved my family from NCR after 12 years. Yeah. So we just relocate to Bombay. So we're getting used to this. Yeah. So different AQI, different humidity percentage and all those stuff. Coming back to the business, we paint, you name it, we quote it. My colleague was telling about the defense product and the marine and vessels. So, AkzoNobel is world largest paint and coating company. So whether you name it, any vessel, so the moment you are selling and when you are parking or docking, so we paint. Yeah, so we are there into the marine, we are in the aerospace, we are there in the mobile which you are using, fridge, TV, you name it, yeah. Your beverages, the beer can which you drink, so the coating which we do. So that is a thing. So I come from there and representing the supply chain part of it. On a lighter note, since morning we are discussing a lot of disruption and Suez Canal and very recently Hormuz. So I'm not able to flash here. So there was a picture which says, the top pillars like AIML, control tower, and then you can name it like various other technology, best of ERP and all. And the bottom there was one fulcrum that says Strait of Hormuz. So we are so we are planned for everything, and when there is something else is planned. So so the world is like that, and so a lot of things which we heard since morning, and very relevant to the entire gamut of supply chain, start from vendor side to the customer side. And the better is that, like, various things does not fits all, like my colleague just said, centralization, decentralization, global, regional. I think there is a word called glocal, right? It's global and local. So I think we have to look for a very frugal and hybrid one. I think that that is very workable in Indian context or the regional context. Yeah. So that is my introduction.
Yeah, that was a good introduction, but please keep the mic close to your heart, to your chest, to your mouth, nose, wherever.
Yeah.
Because I have not finished my question still. Okay, so before you hand over the mic to the gentleman next to you, I have a question. Now, in all this mess, okay, fragmented world, geopolitics, okay, trade wars, tariff barriers, okay, risk, etc. Now, the idea of supply chain professionals like us is to ensure the unhindered flow of goods and services to customers, right? With minimum interruptions, okay? So, given this background, have you had any sort of discussions, debates recently with your logistics service providers or other trade partners? And what have been those discussions like? Have they led to any changes in contract agreements? Or are you also one of those that really has to look at the spot market? Because ocean rates have gone up, air rates have gone up across different channels, okay? So whether it is Asia, Europe, okay, Asia, Middle East, North America, South America, connecting Asia, etc. So have you had any difficult conversations with your LSPs, and what are those terms and conditions that have been modified in your written agreements or contracts? If at all there are any contracts that exist.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh, do you have contracts? So that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so I'll just share our company experiences in past couple of quarters. Start from the we interact very closely with all the stakeholder. We follow IBP, which has really helped, which is integrated business planning. Though I present the front end of supply chain, which is logistics, but I closely work with the procurement colleagues, and in another panel they were there. So we did felt the heat where the entire world with various reason supply chain was getting disrupted. Couple of things which our company has does, and I was discussing with my CPO. So what we did, Sunil, actually we develop localization. So like we are into paints. Once upon a time we were largely depend on the overseas market to procure the raw materials, and it was due to various reasons like non-availability in localization and the cost side as well. But over a period, we start working with the Indian suppliers and co-working rather, how to develop, what are the quality parameters which can be passed on, because we are the multinational company and hence there are a lot of specs was there. So one of the thing which the localization has really helped in last couple of years, in at least the COVID era and then very recent this war era, where our supply was I'll not say the continuously flow, but yeah, it was not very much uninterrupted. So that is one thing which we have seen and we executed in our organization. Some of the panel has also discussed about the alternates. So obviously, rather than depending on few suppliers, we start working with the large supplier base, which has also helped us to divide our risk and get a material on time. Yeah. Obviously, the quick thing in the industry is that due to raw material price increase and the crude and all, at least our industry, I think most of the industry has taken the price increase that finally which we cannot able to, if we have to be profitable. So last 1 year probably we have taken a more than 6 times price increase. As a consumer, if you buy paint, then you can able to see how the price has moved. So obviously to protect our profitability, we did that. That is on the back end side of the supply chain. When we come to the LSP and all, the good part is that we have a very dependable LSPs that are not a national or regional level. Yeah, so it's a very local level one, which they are working and fulfilling our required KPIs. Yeah, though we are, like you have spoken about the contract clause and all, we have clearly written if there is a change in the fuel price. So there is a percentage, there is indexing into it. So yes, sometimes we sit in together and then we discuss like, can we postpone it? We did it. Yeah, in some couple of suppliers has agreed to it, couple of have not agreed to it. So some of the cases we save money, sometimes we postpone that cost increase, and few cases, yeah, obviously we are bound because it is written into the contract clause, we have extended to them. So these are the few things which we can say once you are sitting into the table and discussing, and basis on your associationship with your LSPs, my warehouse partner, my transporter, these things are working. So that is a way how we negotiate at least in the Indian context.
Very interesting. I think there is no textbook answer, formulaic answer, no easy answer. But I think there are some positive signals that I got from your response. That LSPs are willing to discuss this. You have a good set of LSPs that are dependable, that are helping you with the different, I would say, first mile, mid mile, last mile, okay, transportation, right? I think Prateek need not introduce himself because he's already wearing a T-shirt representing Argon, right? So Prateek has come dressed in his uniform, right? So Prateek, yes, you can take a few seconds to introduce yourself. But after that, after you introduce yourself, I have a question very specific to the work that you do, obviously. Since you are into strategy, operations and supply chain consulting. Now, in the consulting space, what has changed in the last few quarters or specifically the last 2-3 years with regard to the type of assignments that you do? And has there been a real rethink in terms of your strategic model? Okay, that you need to discuss now, whether it is process, policy, okay, anything across the plan, source, make, deliver, return, enable, stream, okay, anything to do with people, process, systems, etc., etc. Okay, both the physical part as well as the online supply chain execution. Sorry for the long question, but I hope you get the drift. I'm sure you'll pick up the words and answer. But before that, yeah, don't forget to introduce yourself, please. Although I know you're Prateek and you're wearing an Argon t-shirt, right? Right. Yeah, please, over to you, Prateek.
Yeah. Hello everyone. This is Prateek Chauhan from Argon and Co. Close to 20 years of experience in consulting, primarily into supply chain. Initially started in the planning space and then moved into the supply chain strategy and network design space and the analytics, supply chain analytics. So helped multinational companies in different industries looking at their supply chain problems and then giving them recommendations in terms of like whether it's using data analytics or just like understanding their different supply chain problems and trying to help them with the best possible answers. So that's a bit about myself. Talking about the question that you just asked, right? So from our perspective, what we have been doing over the last few quarters or months. So earlier the questions always used to be, can I have the most cost-effective supply chain or the most service-oriented supply chain? And both of these like parameters are like cost. When you have lower cost or like higher service, they go like services basically is going to increase the cost. But now our clients are more and more asking about a more risk adjusted kind of supply chain, and it's not just about cost or service, but it's also about dependency matrix of the different suppliers that you have, tariffs and like all the port things, and then also like the trade embargoes and those kind of things. Also, a lot of our clients are also kind of looking into not just one solution, but a portfolio of options, because you can't just work with one solution when the supply chain is basically constantly being disrupted, right? So, for example, earlier we used to run only very few scenarios for our clients in terms of the problems or the solutions at hand or recommendations at hand, but now we create a proper playbook for them in terms of different scenarios. If this happens, then what? If that happens, then what, right? So those are the different types of situations now that we have kind of more and more encountering and more doing. In terms of like basically the like overall changes that like how the our team has been helping out our clients in terms of like the different recommendations and related to the problems at hand. We have been more so focused on answering their questions in more not like as a reset, but more so like a reorientation of their like problem set as such. And yeah, so essentially the idea is to help out more and more in terms of their problems at hand.
Okay, so what I could gather is, yeah, you generate more options, build more scenarios, and try to address all the potential variables that impact a specific issue or a problem. Now, this is a generic question meant for all of you. Anyone can come in first. Maybe sir can come in later, Dr. Anand, because you can share your thoughts later. Of course, more from an academician's perspective. But talking about risk and resiliency, now what have you done as organizations and supply chains to manage and address the different risks that have emanated from all these external threats and disruptions? So what is your risk management philosophy in terms of process, in terms of response, in terms of preparedness, in terms of creating a risk register, for example, in terms of, okay, the probability of occurrence and severity of impact, and trying to arrive at a very specific score Okay, and understanding where those risks actually lie, what are those areas of priority, for example. So anything on this specific direction, specific to supply chain risk management. Yes, your thoughts. Starting with anyone, I think the four of you can come first. Maybe Dr. Anand can come towards the end, or maybe he wants to go first. Sir, you want to go first? Okay, I give you special permission and veto powers. Yeah, you can start. Yes, and the others can chip in, please. This is a common question to all of you because risk management itself is a very vast field. Yes, sir. Please go on.
I'm answering in terms of academic institutions, right? So
Oh,
in
you are
term-
allowed, sir. It's a democratic country. Please feel free to answer.
Yeah, thank you
I'm
so
not
much.
going to stop you or penalize you.
No, thank you
Feel
so much.
free. Yeah.
In terms of risk management, I think the kind of preparation a student need to do and what kind of risk is there in terms of his academic capability as well as his employability. I think these are the risks. Any parent who is admitting his ward, basically looking for the bright perspective. Same is the case with the students also. So I think in terms of preparing students, we have gone for industry tie-ups. I think industry tie-ups in terms of providing practical knowledge is very, very important. So for example, students are taken to the industry visits, ICD, inland container depots, where they are exposed to import-export procedures. Similarly, we take them to Harvard Business Simulations. So they are exposed to how the business situations emerge. We conduct, bullwhip exercises, route planning, network designing kind of exercises so that they are ready to simulate the business conditions in different situations. I think the kind of data set which they work on, so that gives them confidence to build and apply their practical knowledge which they've learned in various core as well as practical subjects. So I think this is one kind of risk which we can look for. Other one is, I think, which we are facing in academia is the kind of lack of confidence or nervousness which is happening in the young generation which I've never seen in last 30 years. Believe you me, the kind of students we are, witnessing nowadays in undergrad and postgrad also, and I'm listening in FM radio also, that students are getting depression. They are getting depressed. I never, listened to this word in my student life, that the word depression. So I think well-being, mental well-being is very, very important. We have psychologist department as well as separate psychologists. So any student we, notice that he is behaving abnormally, so we take them to the counselor.
So you have counselors in your
Yes.
university, dedicated teams that
Yes.
look after these mental health aspects. So
Yes,
that's
so
good.
we have the mentor, that's the faculty mentor, as well as separate psychologists who takes care of individual treatment. And then we recommend to the parents that whatever kind of treatment is required. So I think taking personal care of each and every student is very, very important, whether he's in the hostel or he's in the class. So I think in last 2-3 years, these kind of things after COVID, we have witnessed more. And it is not in our university only, I think it is across. So this is one challenge or risk which we have considered. Other one is I think in terms of anti-ragging, you might be listening to other institutions or incidents where students commit suicide and so on. So I think in terms of campus safety and security, I think we are having zero tolerance kind of environment here. Cross-functional teams are working across. So we make them campus friendly. We make them friendly and at home kind of environment. So we are having DJ nights. We have different clubs, student clubs, where they can have their courses also as well as their cultural kind of engagements also. I think the kind of engagement with the students a faculty needs to have, particularly with the Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I think those were born beyond 2002, so they are Gen Alpha. There's a lot of difference. You see the kind of age we have and those have. So
I think,
meeting the expectation of those students and working with them and preparing them, I think that's a real challenge and we're working on them. And believe you me, I think we are getting more than 95% placements. Those who are employable, they are getting placed.
That's wonderful.
And
I think you
long-term
brought out a
internships.
very interesting aspect
you.
of, human nervousness and mental breakdown, etc. That not only applies to students in universities, but professionals like you and me. I think let's understand. I mean, supply chain it can be very wicked. It's tough to be in this field. Let's acknowledge that. And therefore, we all deserve a big round of applause. Not an easy field to be. Okay. Certainly not an easy function. Okay. And it's like walking in air or water at some point of time, where you're absolutely clueless, but you still have to deliver, right? So not easy. And I think the aspects of nervous breakdowns, depression, mental aspects cut across all generations, I think. So whether it's Gen Z, Alpha, Beta, Gamma, or I don't know what generation I am. I don't know. I am Gen Beta, I guess, the youngest. You people are all, I don't know, millennials and baby boomers and whatever, right? All the older generation, right? Yeah, I'm just looking at you very condescendingly. No, just joking. Right, okay. So our generation in particular, I think this is a very good aspect you brought out, sir. Yes, Pankaj, you had something to add. Yes.
Just, doctor has given a academic perspective coming back to the business. So what we did in this type of, uninterrupted supply or the disruption, the best thing is that if you can, if your working capital is allowing, then stock cover. So, the first thing what we do that, whether it's a RM or PM, that, we are just looking at how much cover we can do. And, so that, we can postpone those uncertainty impact to as maximum as possible. We did that actually. We increased our stock cover. Again, obviously, whatever we are procuring domestic, the days of inventory we increased. But when whatever we are buying from the overseas, there also we have spent more money and we had a good stock cover and we were able to manage. And in fact, just to tell our business volume, we are growing last couple of quarter as well in this all uncertainty.
So I'll just add up to it. So on our front, when we talk about risk management, we actually made a risk map, and we gave the scoring to all our partners across the drawing board, and then we made an entire strategy, because this started after COVID, and we made a cultural change also in the organization. So when people were talking about after COVID, so we started saying it is with COVID, because this is early 2020, because nobody was knowing when the pandemic will end and all. So after that, whatever happened in the world in the last 4 years, so today we don't look at them as a disruption. There are disruptions, but nobody comes, oh my God, what has happened today? The gentleman has something, or this nation is bombing this man. So, and like I said in my earlier answer, that what we done is on a geographical diversity. So we have tried to shield our supply chain in a way that based on the risk management, that which are on the lower risk, which are at medium risk, what is the mitigation plan, which are on the higher risk, and for higher risk, what action we have to take. And those action have been taken and incorporated into the entire supply chain.
Excellent. I think we just have about 10 minutes. We'll leave 5 minutes for Q&A. So the next 4 to 5 minutes, the final theme, all of you can answer this again. Given the current circumstances and the present situation and the background, what do you think are the top 2 people-centric skills that supply chain professionals of the future should develop? Whether you're at the entry level, mid-level, senior level, any top 2, quick recall, that comes to your mind immediately.
So one
without
is
provocation.
We keep on hearing strategy, but I think risk, to think beyond the risk actually.
Risk is important.
So because considering again whichever industry which you represent to, so one is risk, and then about the tool. I think across the board you'll see all the organizations, depending on the small, medium or larger, they have the tool. It is about the adaptability and the usability of the individual actually. So I think it's about the two, on the risk and the tool usage, because it can be tweaked. It is more about that how do you use them, and it can be addressed to on the best, say for the fit for the
Excellent,
business.
straight off the cuff. So that's good.
Yeah, if you say on a human skill for this type of situation or the VUCA world, I think that the first thing comes to my mind is resilience. And then obviously some other panel team member has said the open mindset. These are the 2 things.
So I'll coin
Just
them
top
into
2,
2.
okay?
Yeah,
Top
2
2.
only.
Most important, yeah.
Most important is challenge the status quo, okay, and second is prepare for the worst and the hope for the best. So always prepare. So coming from, I've learned, if people know about failure mode effect analysis, FMEA.
FMEA, right? That's
So
it.
basically, if people are aware, so basically you plan for a failure.
Okay.
So we should plan for a failure where the supply chain will break, and then hope it never happens.
Excellent. Any other thoughts?
As per me, I think is entrepreneurial skills. I think every organization is looking for entrepreneurial manager. It is not traditional manager. So he should be able to take risk, come with the new ideas. So this is one. And secondly, networking.
Or networking
I
skills
think,
need to be developed. Okay.
Supply chain person has to have junoon and jugaad.
Has to have junoon and jugaad.
Yeah. I
So
would say
friends, we
junoon
heard
and
2
jugaad are the key words.
new meanings of the alphabet J today, right? The
So I
letter J.
think all Indians are jugadus. I know that how to get things done. So, but supply chain person has to do that. And if he's good at networking, I think things are done very well.
Yeah, I think there's a globally renowned book on jugaad, and it's not a bad word after all, right? I mean, it's something that the world learns from, and we should be proud as Indians. I think it's a possibly a little crude term for innovation, Okay, for fantastic
Related to
innovation,
Yeah,
to a lot of problems that we deal with. Okay, whether it is humanitarian logistics, disaster relief, okay, making sure that organs and different sort of medical aids reach the far corners of India. Okay, so there are supply chains that exist everywhere, right? So I guess with that we come to a close. We have about 7 minutes. Unless there's something else that I think Dr. Anand is not done, and
Yeah,
your
so I
your
just
mic
want to,
is yeah.
just wanted
Yeah,
to
then you
add.
can come back, Dr. Anand. You wanted to add something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
please don't subtract anything, right? As long as you want to add, yeah. Okay, just jokes apart.
So from our domain, I would like to add that uh, there is a lot of data that has now, a lot of the companies are now like kind of getting by from the transactions and everything. And there are a lot of control towers that people are using and building, but it's more about like kind of using that analytics into action. And then also I think from our perspective, in this AI world, it's not just about like being able to kind of rely on the AI, but it's about like basically taking advantage of the AI and then kind of using in your field to deliver answers to your clients much faster. So those are the two main things I would suggest.
Excellent. We just have 1 minute now, 6 minutes to go. So 5 minutes, one more minute. Any stargazing on how do you see the future evolving? Given the current situation, do you think next year or next 3 years we'll be worse off at the same level or better off? Any probability of optimism, pessimism, likelihood of something? Sir, do you say this is good, bad, or you say things will improve? Oh, so you're being optimistic there. So you're saying that Trump will then finally visit a mental hospital and his senses will improve and he will go towards a zero tariff world. Is that what you're
It's
saying?
a temporary phenomena as COVID has passed on. Like, I'm sure that soon war is going to be
So you're
over.
optimistic
Yeah,
essentially. You
absolutely.
say that
Absolutely. I have seen as well.
geopolitics, tariffs, global trade, climate,
Yeah, I'm just putting
political uncertainty.
India into the global map. Like I do see that India is signing very soon, and it is doing in
So
going
you're
that
very, very
direction.
optimistic. Any
Absolutely.
contrarian views?
I am also optimistic, and I would quote one research from Blue Yonder who says, AI ready professionals. So they have rated from -5 to +5 scale.
Okay.
They are being rated 2.9.
Oh,
So they are very close to 3
that's
out of
wonderful.
on the positive side. So I'm
Okay.
also optimistic, and it is basically researched out by Blue Yonder study also.
Right, right. Great.
Thank you.
So my take is contradictory to both of them is this is the new normal, what we are
We
going
should
through.
get comfortable with this, right?
Yeah, because
Need to
like
live
I
with it.
said,
That's true.
since
Nothing
COVID,
going to change.
there has been Ukraine-Russia war, there has been Houthi war, then there is a war on Iran, then tariffs and all. Uh, if I take a liberty, there are 2, 3 wars which are just brewing. They are just waiting. It's
Waiting
like
to happen, yeah.
whenever somebody wants, it will just surface up. So we should be prepared that this is the new normal and things are not going to get like change. We'll just get adapted, and
Great.
adaptability is the key.
Quick thoughts before I open it up to the audience. Just about 4 minutes, yeah. Yes. Yes, Ashish.
Quick 30 seconds. I think I also believe in a way from a geopolitical part may be bad. As a supply
Still
chain
bad,
practitioner,
geopolitical,
it
okay.
is positive. You will go on to see the regional superpowers trying to, nobody has a crystal ball, we would be billionaire if we had one. But I think it will be
Usually
getting
had it.
worse, which is good as a supply chain practitioners actually.
Excellent, great. So on that note, we come to a close. Thank you very much, and it was a pleasure being here. Once again, I am so thrilled to have contributed as a moderator, and thank you so much, my dear fellow co-panelists. So much to learn. I have taken a lot of notes since morning. Every panel has been highly educating. I am still a very humble student of supply chain, still learning through all these experiences. Now we have about a little over 3 minutes. Any questions that the audience has? Please feel free to shoot. Yes, we have about 3 minutes, 3 minutes and 19 seconds. Yeah. Any questions that you want to ask related to supply chain, this topic, anything that was asked? We discussed various themes, of course. Okay, people, process, systems, risk. Okay, general trade.
Hello.
So, is there any question that you want to ask?
Yeah.
I think the gentleman there. Yes, yes, sir. Please.
Hi, I'm Neeraj Poptani. This question is regarding trade and risk, what we look at. So now ESG is coming in and it will go down to value chain. how are we looking at to evaluate the ESG compliance by our MSME or the value chain suppliers? And in what way we will be, in what manner we will be mitigating it while considering our BRSR reports?
Yeah, BRSR, by the way, is mandated by SEBI, okay? Right? Business Sustainability and Continuity Reporting, that is BRSR. Yes, yes, please.
Can I?
Yeah, please, please.
I
Anyone can
think
take it. Yeah, I think
it
point
is one is on the compliance, other is about the excellence. So in order to be, a different, whichever sector you are representing, you look at the peers of the same industry from the various geography. ESG is like as good as your PNL to be reported, right? This is something of a new discussion which is happening in our landscape. So it will be as a distinction, but at the same time it comes with a cost which will be from the customer. So somebody has to pay, right? And it will not be the companies, it has to be customers. You look at booking airline quickly, I'll just 10 seconds. You book airline, you have an option of buying green ticket. You want to buy your Snickers, you can have pay additional of, for the freight, even the electricity. It is more about the awareness, and that I think the discussion itself is good. So it is not about the compliance, it has to be about the excellence. But yeah, the companies which adapt faster, again on the cost, will be the so-called differentiator among the pack of them.
little over a minute left. Okay,
Yeah,
1
I'll
minute,
just
20 seconds. Yeah.
add into
Time
it
for
on
one
the,
more question. Oh, you want to add? Yeah.
I'll just on the compliance point is the big organizations have to handle the MSMEs. So they have taken the leap. The ESG is coming in a big time in the procurement side. Okay, there are, like you mentioned, on the airlines, there are green channels also, green routes on the shipping lines. But are you willing to compromise on your lead times and take the green route? That is the big question. So compliances will be managed by big organizations who will be hand-holding the MSMEs.
Yeah, final minute.
So
Time
my
for just one more question, sir. Quickly. Yeah, we'll just.
Regarding this marine insurance, the costs would have gone up, and what do you envisage for the Indian market? The
Specific to marine insurance. Question on marine insurance. Yeah, I think Ashish will take that quickly. Just 30 seconds left. Yeah, Ashish.
Sure. Sorry, I couldn't gather the question. Sorry, sir.
Marine insurance costs,
Marine.
and how much has it gone up in India now?
Yeah, I mean, I'll not say just India specific, but we are all reading. It gets again factored into. Sometimes even the insurance doesn't want to touch the vessels. I'm saying now onto the ship owner's perspective. And if you see the bigger droid parallel again with the airline, they also don't want to operate in the region. So yes, sometimes even looking, I put a ballpark number of even 40 to 50% on the premiums, and certain times even nobody wants to either operate or insure because you don't know. You have been reading in terms of, even the seafarers going through the difficulty in the region. So let's see, but to put a ballpark, 40 to 50% depending on the segment, area, Red Sea, which zone you are operating.
Yeah, that's all the time that we have. And thank you very much.
Thanks.
Really enjoyed it. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Sunil, very well done.
Thank you very
All
much.
right, Charu, request you to do the honors. Stay on the stage. You'll pick up your gift. Thank you, Sunil, and thank you for the panel. I missed half of it because of some work, but it was very entertaining for sure as you started, Sunil. You got a good humor and keep it up. All right, we have two back-to-back firesides, quick one. First, let's start with Mr. Yes CP, Senior Director, Customer Delight at Pando AI. Yes, where are you? Please join. And Charu, would like to engage that?
Hi Yash, welcome to the rapid fire.
Thank you. Thanks, Charu. Pleasure to be here.
Okay, lot of discussion on AI has been happening today. So what is the
Yes.
bigger barrier to AI adoption today? Bad data, legacy technology, or lack of trust?
Trust, honestly, I think bad data, etc., can all be overcome once there's enough trust and belief. So trust for sure.
Okay. 5 years from now, will companies still buy TMS software or will they buy outcomes delivered by AI?
Outcomes definitely, I think, right away. Outcomes always was the objective, and 5 years hence, it's definitely only going to be outcomes.
Okay. Complete the sentence. The biggest mistake supply chain leaders can make with AI today is?
To bolt it onto existing systems. I think workflow systems, processes need to be defined keeping the future in mind, keeping AI in mind. So bolting it onto existing systems and thinking it will work, with current SOPs, that's going to be the biggest mistake.
Okay. What's one thing you wish that TMS customers would appreciate more about the work that goes into making logistics look simple?
Oh, there's a lot, but I think the chaos that we go through, syncing multiple systems, processes, etc. on the ground, and bringing you a calm-looking dashboard with end-to-end data sanctity. I think
Right.
that is what needs to be appreciated the most.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. What's one thing you've learned from your customers that changed the way you think about TMS?
I think success is driven by ownership, adoption, etc. Change management all comes through ownership, and I think that is ultimately the biggest learning. Who owns the outcome of the decision really is the biggest learning. Yeah.
Great, great. What's one thing you'd love to hear a customer say after using Pando?
Okay, yeah, the ROI was there, and truly logistics became a growth partner versus being looked as a cost center.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So, where can AI genuinely give a logistics leader their time back?
Exception management, delay prediction, chasing lost PODs, etc. So definitely allowing, taking away the time spent on exception management and allowing more time to be spent into planning, future looking. Yep.
Right,
Yep.
right. And what should customers expect from a AI-powered TMS that they couldn't expect 5 years ago?
A TMS no longer being a system of record, actually more of a execution co-pilot, to be honest, something that actually does the day-to-day routine work, and it's actually like a team member versus just a system of record, as it has been. Yeah.
Great, great, Yash. Thanks a lot. Can we have a token of appreciation for Yash?
Thank you, Charu. Thanks all. Thanks for having us. Pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks, Yash. Thanks for your insights.
Yeah, climb the stage. Stage is yours.
So that's Kapil from founder and MD of KD Supply Chain Solutions. So now a lot of questions would be towards the 3PL services. So what is the one thing customers expect from their 3PL today that they didn't expect 5 years ago?
I think all the companies are now asking about sustainability and gender diversity in the contracts which we are signing, and that is becoming a resurgent theme across all the contracts we are